Hi, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to teach you about K-drama basics. So, I wrote a book called Wicked Fox. I was heavily inspired by Korean dramas, and I talk about them a lot on this channel, but I realized that for some of you, you might not have watched a K-drama before. So I figured I'd make a quick guide about some Korean drama basics. So traditionally, most Korean dramas are only one season long. There is the asterisk here that with a new partnership with Netflix, it seems that some K-dramas are actually going to have multiple seasons, but just bear with me. I grew up with K-dramas and my whole entire life, they've been only one season long. Now there are some series that have had reimaginings that come out every couple of years, like the School or Hakyo series, like School 2013, School 2015, and School 2017, as well as the Reply series like Reply 1988, Reply 1994, and Reply 1997. Now, of course, they're not always year-based, but those two are. So the only difference is that every time that they are reimagined, it is a completely new story and a completely new cast, kind of like if I were comparing it to something American Horror Story. So I still consider those season standalones. You can watch any of the School seasons or the Reply seasons and not have had to watch the old ones. Now, this can be both a great thing and a bad thing. So the great thing about it is you get closure. Every single season of a K-drama will end with an actual ending, and you don't have to be part of its cliffhanger feeling over the summer to see what happens next. The sad thing is that after the series is done running for its one season, you have to say goodbye to these characters that you fell in love with. That is super duper sad for me. There's still some characters that I'm like, what are they up to right now? There could have been so much more to their story, but it is kind of a nice way to see a whole entire story in 12 to 100 episodes. To be fair, some seasons are up to 100 episodes. Those are like the long daytime dramas. The dramas that a lot of us are watching here in the States are like between 12 to 20 episodes. So yes, but with 20 episodes, you can finish a whole entire K-drama. So the next thing is that there are a lot of Korean cultural references because they're Korean dramas. So yes, there are a lot of Korean cultural references. They don't necessarily take the time to explain it to you because the audiences are traditionally mainly Korean. So these are things like Korean drinking culture with soju and drinking games and things like that. Chimek, which is our abbreviation for chicken and beer. Korean bathhouses or jjimjilbangs, where we do weird things like we put the towels on our head in a weird folded way, or we break a hard-boiled egg onto somebody's forehead. Yes, it is very strange, but you get used to it really quickly, and it is no different than watching any kind of fantasy series like Game of Thrones and realizing they have their own world cultural references as well. So yes, it does take a little getting used to. However, it's kind of what makes them so endearing and so wonderfully Korean. Even though we say K-dramas as if it is a full genre, just like YA and middle grade, that is actually a huge overarching category, and there are genres within the category. So within K-dramas, their main ones are melodramas, rom-coms, procedurals, and seikuks. So melodramas are exactly what you would think. They are really dramatic. There's a lot of like family dynamics, relationship dynamics, all of those things are the main tension and the plot. Underneath melodramas is a thing that we call mukbangs. Those are intensely melodramatic. It's just like soap opera style, like swooning. Everything is such a huge deal. Everyone is like falling to the floor with emotions, and that has its own word to describe it, mukbang. So within rom-coms or romances, those are the lighter ones. They are more comedic, they are sweeter. The one thing that I have been talking to a lot of people is that even within the rom-com genre, there can be a really dramatic sub-story. There's one that I was watching recently which was really sweet, and the romance was like so cute, and it made you just kind of like, you know, feel so good in your heart, and then there was like a serial killer out there trying to get people. And that was the sub story. I was like, what is happening? I thought this was super cute based on the trailer, but no, there is a serial killer we have to catch in the meantime. So that can definitely happen. I would say that high school dramas is a subgenre of all of this, and a lot of times a high school drama will have a cute romance storyline. Think things like Airs, Boys Over Flowers, Flower Boy Ramen Shop, things like that. Those are high school dramas, but they also have cute romance. The next one is what I call procedurals. Now, this could just fall into like a general drama genre. However, I think that procedurals are very specific in Korean dramas. These are the kind of K-dramas where if you've ever watched it, every once in a while they will say a technical term, and the definition for that technical term will show up at the bottom of the screen. Of course, usually it's in Korean, so if you can't read Hangul, then you might not realize that that's what they're doing. But this happens a lot in dramas that involve lawyers, as well as dramas that include medical terminology in a hospital, or even things where they are doing some kind of technical job like in the army or something like that. So these are procedural often because usually each episode there is a different case that they have to solve, even though there's also still an overarching drama that is going on. Things like this are like The Good Doctor, which has an American spin-off, I Can Hear Your Voice, which is a legal procedural drama, as well as Descendants of the Sun. The final one is the Saeguk. Now, I love Saeguks because even within this, there are subgenres. So these are historical or period dramas. These are things like Sangyeonggwang Scandal, Moonlight Drawn by Clouds, Moon Embracing the Sun, things like that. It is all usually based in the past. A lot of the times it's in the Joseon period because that's kind of just like the biggest period in Korea where we like accomplished a lot of things. But like Hwarang is based in the Shilla dynasty. There's Gakshi-tal, which is based in the early 1900s. So yes, there's a lot of different historical dramas that exist within the K-drama category, and I absolutely love them. And sometimes they're really traditional and really respect like the actual facts of the time, but most of the time I would say that they fudge things. Like they use a little bit of modern slang. It kind of feels like if you ever saw that movie with Heath Ledger, A Knight's Tale, where it is based in the past but they use like rock music and like modern terminology sometimes. It kind of feels a little bit like that, but just like on a sliding scale, how far they go or don't go. So I kind of do appreciate that because sometimes old-timey Korean is like really hard to understand, so the fact that they use some modern day slang kind of just like gives it a nice fresh twist. The next thing that is often used in Korean dramas is the mukbang. So this has changed a little bit because of the internet, but like mukbangs now are like things where you go onto YouTube and you watch someone eat food, but I would argue that they have existed throughout a lot of Korean film history because Korean dramas love to show you people eating delicious food. Now, if you're a fan of anime, then you're probably already used to this. Anime does a really good job of showing delicious food and people eating it deliciously, and Korean dramas do that on the same scale except for IRL. So yes, if you want to learn about Korean food, then you can low-key do that while watching Korean dramas. Now, underneath the mukbang is the trope where people eat food while being really emotional. So like they're kind of crying and beautifully while they eat, which I will tell you is not very possible. When I cry, there's like snot everywhere and tears, and like, you know, you can't really taste the food when you have snot all in your nose. Anyway, I would say that it is definitely a suspension of disbelief to believe that someone can cry so beautifully while still eating delicious food, but that's maybe just me. The next thing is perhaps a trope, and if you guys want to learn about K-drama tropes, I'd be happy to make a separate video about that. Sound off on the comments down below. But a lot of K-dramas will use the act of Aegyo, or baby talk or baby actions. So Aegyo literally means baby, and oftentimes this is used in a flirty way where someone who like kind of wants someone else to do a favor for them, or to think that they're cute, or to like take care of them, they'll be like, oppa, like that, and that's Aegyo. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that on film. But yes, so boys do it, girls do it, anyone will do it. It's often done by K-pop idols as well when they're doing interviews or they're on variety shows. But yes, Aegyo, it happens a lot in K-dramas. Another thing that happens a lot in K-dramas is time jumps. Now I'm gonna do a little sidebar and say that perhaps I was inspired by this trope for an aspect of Wicked Fox, but if you haven't read it, I won't give you a spoiler. But yes, a lot of these things did inspire things in Wicked Fox, if you were wondering. So time jumps happen a lot, and not just at like the beginning or the end of the drama, even though it can. So there's 3 different types of time jumps. It's like the first 2 episodes is about the main characters when they're kids to set up background, and then you time jump, and then in like the 3rd or 5th episode or somewhere around there, you finally meet the adult characters. That happens a lot. It happened in the K-drama Pinocchio with Park Shin-hye and Lee Jung-suk, where you didn't even meet them for like 3 or 4 episodes, and then finally you met the adult characters. The other way you can do it is a time jump will happen at the very end. All of the drama happens, and then all of a sudden things are working out, but there's one final thing that the main character has to do. They have to go away to do some like finding themselves or developing themselves before they can fully be committed to their new life or their new relationship. This happens in Oh My Ghostess, where one of the main characters has to go away for a few years, but you do get to see them coming back in the epilogue. This happens in To All the Boys I Loved Before, because it is a high school drama and they have to address the fact that these characters are probably going away to college, but they find each other again in the end, all of that kind of stuff. So that does happen. The next time jump type happens in the middle. Now this is kind of a very interesting kind of time jump to choose to do, and it is kind of hard to do because it's like you get to know these characters for like 8 episodes and you're really invested, and all of a sudden something horrible happens and they don't see each other for a year to 4 years, and you're like, what? How is this? What's gonna happen? Why are they separated for so long? Oftentimes this trope is accompanied by amnesia or something like I'm leaving for your own good kind of a trope, but that would belong in the tropes video. So this actually happens in An Innocent Man with Song Joong-ki. Things happen in the beginning, it's not looking good for them, something horrible happens in the halfway point, and they do not see each other for a significant amount of time, and then we pick up in the second half of the story a year later. This actually also happens in Boys Over Flowers. Boys Over Flowers just has all the time jumps, I think. And yeah, so something happens in the middle, we jump a significant amount of time. What are these characters up to? Are they still together? What is happening with them? We gotta keep watching to find out. So yes, these time jumps happen at all points within the K-drama, and it is definitely used for dramatic effect most of the time. Another thing that's done really well in Korean dramas is actually love triangles. Yes, I said it, love triangles are done really well in K-dramas. And you might be thinking, ugh, no, there is no way that a love triangle can be done well. I hate them always. But K-dramas kind of use love triangles in a different way. So there are different phrases for this that you have to learn. It is the main lead and the second lead. And what this means is that the main lead is obviously the person who is going to end up with the main character, and the second lead is the person who unfortunately loves them but cannot have them. Oftentimes it is unrequited love, but even if it is like a love that is somehow reciprocated at first, it turns out to be like we're better off as friends. So that's the thing though, is that they do a lot to show why the main character has to go with the person they go with, and how the second lead is still going to be okay. And they spend a lot of time on showing how the second lead develops outside of their love for the main character, which is why I actually kind of think it's done really well in K-dramas. They don't just treat the second lead as just a road bump to the romance, they treat them as their own person. Another thing that often K-dramas will do is that the second lead is someone who loves the main character so much that they want them to be happy, to the point that they will help them be with the other love interest. And I just think that that's a wonderful, selfless kind of love, and it shows that love, whether platonic or romantic, can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. And yes, if you think that maybe this might show up in a future book, you are not wrong. I have a lot of plans and ideas for utilizing this very well subverted trope. The final thing that K-dramas do that I think is absolutely amazing is Bromance. Bromance. I absolutely love it. I think it's so well done in K-dramas. If you want to go back to School 2013, which I talked about before, the bromance is the relationship in that. Actually, there really isn't romance in that. It's all about the bromance, and I am here for it. Another one that does bromance really well is Cheer Up. So good. I mean, there are so many that do bromance really well. I mean, Boys Over Flowers does it really well. I would argue that Airs does like a broken bromance really well. Anyway, yes, it is just like really, really well done. Descendants of the Sun, such a good romance in that one, and really good romance. But yes, it is just like to show that guys can really, really love each other and really care about each other and do anything for each other. And it's wonderful and emotional, and it's something to be treasured and something to be focused on, and I think it's just done really, really well in K-dramas. This is gonna turn into just a bromance video. No, we are moving on. So yes, that is my beginner's guide to Korean dramas. I could make another video on some amazing starter Korean drama videos for you to watch. If you want me to do that, then comment down below. So yes, that is it for now. This video is already way too long, so if you like this video, then I'd really appreciate a thumbs up or a subscription to this channel. And if you have any comments or questions, then you can do that in the comments down below. Or if you just want to say what some of your favorite Korean dramas have been lately, then I'd love to see those. And I will see everybody next time. Bye! Okay, sorry, no.